without interference from Congress or the courts. What they label as a dictatorship, 32% say good. Now, bear in mind, all of them don't think that any dictatorship is good. They think that their dictatorship is good. But that 1 out of 3 Americans think any dictatorship is acceptable is something that I think demands a lot of thought. And I will end with this. We end a lot of our segments, and we don't really know what to tell you to do about it. But in this case, just don't let Donald Trump get into office, okay? Kick the can of dictatorship a few more years down the road. That would be my advice. And you'll get your opportunity coming up in just a few months. Okay, with that said, let's move into our final story. We got some videos for you. Let's jump into this.
I'm sorry, but I paid to be a customer at a hotel where I thought you believed that women were real. That because you put on makeup, because you're wearing high heels, because you have a Barbie outfit on, that you don't think this is degrading?
Okay, so are you gonna be surprised to find out that that was a Moms for Liberty woman? Yeah, she's a chapter head of it. It's Beth Bourne, president of a California Moms for Liberty chapter. So that's fun. I could potentially run into her. She was on a trip to Hawaii, and she was in a hotel where they thought women were real, or whatever that's supposed to mean to this Karen. And she happened across performers who were gonna be performing at a scheduled drag brunch. And because those artists happened to be near her, she of course had to whip out her camera and start filming them as she went off on a deranged rant with the end goal of probably getting some social media clout. And so that video that you saw is from the perspective of the performer. Obviously the Karen had a phone out too, but let's get into a little bit more of the rant.
This is misogyny, and we have a hotel. If you give me back my money right now, I will leave the hotel.
Okay, let's go take
But I am not going to have my children come down from the 30th floor and see what's happening here.
Let's go take care of your reservation right now.
Yeah, no, this is completely degrading.
Let's go take care of that right now. Come on.
I want to know what your names are, because I'm going to share this.
Let's go take care of your reservation and have you check out.
Are you in the hotel? Are you dressed up? Are you a man? Are you a man pretending to be a woman?
I'm not pretending to be anything. I'm just dressed.
What do you think about my son, who might think that he can put on makeup and put on fancy clothing and high heels and have his penis cut off and take estrogen so he can grow fake boobs like those? Yeah, this is so degrading. I want to hear from the police.
Look, that's horrible and hateful, obviously. Not just the fact that somebody would utterly flip out that an artist just happened to be like sitting on a couch somewhere, and you decide that not only do you need to get in their face shouting at them and ruin their day, but you need to move your kids out of the hotel. And so I hate it for that reason. And I hate that this person is with the Moms for Liberty. So they've decided that this isn't just a thing that they're gonna do like on their own. No, that they wanna be part of a movement that's going to oppress people that perform in drag, or if they're LGBTQ or whatever. But I also just feel deeply sad that our culture has produced so many people like this, that they've chosen to radicalize themselves in some cases, or that they've just unfortunately trusted the wrong people. And you have a full-grown woman who is capable of like getting on a plane and going to Hawaii. You know, you'd think this is a person who has a life. They have a kid, and they're broken, utterly broken inside. Their head is filled with hateful fluff, and that's it. And they just go through their life waiting to flip out on someone. And that same sort of person would tell us that we get triggered too much by what goes on.
Wow.
And there she is ruining a drag performer's day because they just happen to be in the same area. What do you think?
And a way to pronounce her conditional love for her son too. What would be the problem if her son, who she was referencing, children, whatever, would enjoy seeing someone? This is ridiculous. It is radical, and I don't know a worse Karen who can ruin. I mean, you're in Hawaii, okay? Honolulu, I believe she was. And it's beautiful. Just look around and how beautiful it is. And you are so ugly with this speech, this violent speech. You've turned something beautiful into something ugly with people who are minding their own business. You're not part of the shoot, Karen. Move on.
Yeah, we did yesterday. We talked about some right-wing loser or whatever from Newsmax who, as part of his engagement, he put up a photo of it and he captioned it, "Pride Month is so defeated." And his wife to be now is also like, yeah, make June great again. Like, you people have derangement syndrome. Your brains have been broken by the culture war nonsense, the identity politics of you as a straight person or whatever. Like, you just can't live your life. You can't draw pleasure or happiness or satisfaction from one of the greatest days of your life or one of the most beautiful places on earth. You've been broken. And for some reason, you're mad at us rather than the people who broke you. Anyway, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this hour. Well, for the show, I should say. Sharon, as always, thank you for making it a Big News Wednesday. We appreciate you being here.
And consider those cornrows. I think cornrows should be next. Let it keep growing. It's just
we'll
on
get
this one single dominant land. Oh, that's a great idea.
Thank you. Okay. We'll see. Maybe next Wednesday we'll have that. That's the thing that will really make my RNC look, my purple cornrows. That woman's gonna run up on me with a camera running. Anyway, thank you everyone. Okay, I'm gonna be on the second hour of the Young Turks and the bonus episode coming up later today. Yaz is gonna join us on tomorrow's show, so definitely tune in then. For now though, stay safe out there, stay sane out there, and we'll see you soon.
is Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Doc has the day off, but I'm thrilled to be joined once again by Yasmin Aliya Khan. I love all our contributors, but I especially love you because whenever I'm on with you, it's great energy, but I feel also like, she could do anything and everything. You're brilliant.
I love the
Beautiful.
compliment. Thank you.
We were talking about your background, which has changed up a little bit since I last saw you, and it reminds me of like my favorite cooking show. You said you do bake.
I do.
So
I'm a baker. Yeah, I do. I bake and I cook a lot. Yeah. Yeah. This is my breakfast nook. My office is being renovated. We're done with the black. We're moving on from that. So temporarily for the foreseeable future, we'll be in my breakfast nook. So the rest of my house is not dark and scary. The rest of my house is very like bright and cute. So.
It's going to be great. You renovate. Let's add that as well. I love it. I love it. And I just appreciate you. I say we get right to it, Yasmin. This first story, I find it heartbreaking. I find it heartbreaking, and I'll get into it. I want to hear what you have to say about it. Jamaal Bowman loses the New York primary to George Latimer. What is going on here? Okay, there's the voice, the powerful, passionate person you know, and then another guy who jumped in. According to News One, incumbent New York Congressman Jamaal Bowman has lost his primary election Tuesday night to an accused Democrat. And we say that because it's really a name only. So we'll give you the rest behind this. George Latimer, whose campaign received record funding from a powerful conservative lobby in a race that was replete with racist dog whistles and attacks. That's who's going to be representing you. Maybe. Westchester County Executive George Latimer won in part with a pro-Israel platform that paved the way for the fountain of anti-Black rhetoric, sentiments he and his surrogates espoused during the most expensive House primary ever. Well, you wanted him out of there. You wanted him silenced, didn't you? And no amount of money was going to be too much to get him out of there. Let's give you the rest of this. New York-based lawyer, activist. She's become one of my favorites because she's unapologetic and well-researched. Olay Olerin would react online. And you see it there. She talks about the money. Nearly $25 million was spent on the primary. Just look at her posting there on X. Because he dare call for a ceasefire. Wow. Talks about Latimer's seat being bought and paid for and a dangerous undermining of democracy. And that's where I land. I like Bowman. I like Jamaal Bowman. It's not about that. It's far worse than that. It's about silencing people. I said nearly 25 million spent on the primary, including nearly 15 million alone from AIPAC, the powerful Israel lobby that typically attaches itself to Republican candidates. But with Bowman's defiant stance in opposition to the accused genocide in Gaza at the hands of Israel, and that's what people are calling it, including war crimes, the charges being issued by the world body. That's the rub, and that's where people are standing on this. His defiant stance in opposition to the accused genocide in Gaza at the hands of Israel, the combination of AIPAC, Latimer, and his supporters proved to be too formidable a challenge for the incumbent to overcome. Bowman, former educator, member of the squad of progressive U.S. House Representatives who was first elected in 2020, took the high road, conceding defeat, did not mention his opponent's focus on the topic of race. Previously, Latimer drew the ire of activists over his past comments. I want you to take a look at this.
You can only be in one demographic, and if the philosophy of where we are heading is that you cannot be in office unless you have my identity, then we're in a bad place.
In fairness, the caller did not say that, right? In fairness, the caller did not say that, right?
No, but what I'm saying is I'm responding to a question in my terms. She was, I think, pretty clear that she's not happy with me and that I can't represent her interests.
The Cuomo Emmett Till thing that she refers to, I think I have the text in front of me. You wrote, I think, on Facebook, in our world, no matter how heinous the crime.
I deleted it, Brian. I put it on Facebook. I was angry at the time. I deleted it within a half an hour. I thought better of it. It was a foolish tweet. I have said so, and I deleted it at the time. It is not reflective of the broader way that I deal with circumstances like this, but I recognize it was a foolish set of words. It was hurtful to some people, and I deleted it.
Brian. It's not a big deal. I'm only being racist on Tuesdays. Just stop it, Brian. It's not relevant. Sorry if I offended some people. This is what you want? Okay. But is it really what you want, or did the money get him there? Latimer also suggested that he was exempt from being guilty of racism because he appointed a black man to be his deputy county executive. Okay. No racist person does that. Latimer insisted just last month. He also suggested he couldn't be racist because he grew up in a black neighborhood, city, and state. Reported. This guy. Latimer employed similar logic after an endorsement from former New York Congressman Mondaire Jones, who was black. The argument about me running a racist campaign falls flat on its face when people who are African American, Latino, Asian are supporting me, Latimer told the New York Times earlier this month. During a debate last month, Latimer used terms to describe Bowman that are consistent with the angry black man trope, traditionally been employed as a racial fear-mongering tactic. He'd have done it against a black woman, too. Trust me, I know. That type of energy that Latimer supporters and surrogates have likely fed off of, that includes Terry DeGaetano, the vice chair of the Westchester County Democratic Committee, who told us how he really felt when she described Bowman on Facebook as being angry and suggested she hoped he suffered from a stroke. Wow. If your own umbrella party feels this way, who needs enemies? Weeks later, not only did Latimer, who again ran as a Democrat, not denounce the above examples of racist dog whistling, but he also went on to win the primary via tactics that could be used as a roadmap for Republicans and other conservative-leaning candidates in the 2024 general elections. News One with the details. Previously, though, Bowman made no secret of how he felt about Latimer's political tactics in the primary. It's unfortunate that George has decided that the best way to win an election is to divide our communities with a blatantly racist campaign, Bowman told News One in a statement earlier this month. Bowman's campaign manager, Gabe Tobias, pointed out to News One that AIPAC Super PAC is funded by Republican billionaires, Donald Trump's mega donors. And now those very same MAGA extremists bankrolling George Latimer's increasingly and unsurprisingly racist campaign against Congressman Bowman. Throughout the primary, Latimer and his campaign trafficked in tired racial tropes, including darkening Bowman's skin color and a pair of mailers. We're still doing that? Are we still doing that? Really? It's just not enough to go with the traditional systemic racism. Latimer would also feature this man as a special guest at a fundraiser on May 30th. Enjoy this.
Ultimately, this is not something that only Jews should be happy about. This is something that affects all peoples. All people who stand up against hatred and bigotry should be championing the news from yesterday. So number one, we got to make sure that Harvard becomes finally the institution that it once sought out for itself, one whereby the freedom of speech, the free exchange of ideas, and intellectual diversity is championed, not the insistence of racial identity over intellectual worth, not the insistence of towing the party line. I think that's really been lost, not just under Claudine Gay's leadership, but in the last couple of years at Harvard and of higher education more broadly in the United States. We got to get away from this insidious ideology of DEI, this binary system of oppressor versus oppressed. We have to stop looking at people through the prism and through the lens of race, but really valuing their worth from an academic, from a social, from an intellectual lens.
Now that last sentence resonates with me. I would love to get away from the rest and just look at people, what they bring to the table, their strength, all of it. But that's not what America was founded on. Silly. Do you want to respect all people's voices? Harvard? Or only certain people at certain times? Sounds like some people were shut down. A lot of college campuses, some presidents driven out when they didn't toe the line and decided, you know what, I can talk to people who have a difference of opinion and we can come to terms. No longer presidents being forced out. Okay, well, there's more. Meanwhile, Wesley Bell, who is primarying Missouri Congresswoman Cori Bush, what a coincidence, was already resented among activists for not prosecuting police officers involved in the killing of Michael Brown and Ferguson. Now, Huffington Post has outed him as having managed the campaign of a conservative Republican running for the same seat Bell is seeking today, seemingly compounding political matters for him. Spokesperson downplayed Bell's role in Burns' campaign as being on a voluntary basis for a longtime friend, despite the two having ideological differences. You show me your friends, you know that old saying. Bell, age 49, was first elected as a council member in Ferguson on the heels of Brown's police killing, took the oath of office in 2019 to become the first African-American district attorney for St. Louis County. He replaced the so-called law and order prosecutor, Bob McCullough. Oh, I was there that time. He presented information to the grand jury, which was supposed to be investigating and recommending charges or not against Officer Wilson, who shot and killed Mike Brown. But once we got our hands on the transcript, it certainly seemed like Michael Brown, the dead kid, was the one he put on trial. This guy. So he replaced him, Bell did, McCullough, who oversaw the Brown case, but declined to bring criminal charges. Bell ran on a platform that included a promise to review Brown's shooting, but more than a year after taking office, he announced that his office would also not be bringing any criminal charges in the notorious police shooting that sparked widespread racial justice protest and contributed to the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement. I think I can smell what's cooking here. Further adding to the scrutiny of Bell's politics is the fact that he has accepted campaign cash from AIPAC. So we're going to be talking more about them. Apparently, we can't escape them. Pro-Israel lobby that's politically aligned with conservative Republicans like Donald Trump has also contributed to historic proportions this campaign season, including nearly $1 million on Bell, according to Bush, who suggested he has been politically compromised by the support. Of course he has. That's not an opinion. That's the way it works, folks. Just look at that. Boy, our team is so good by telling a story, weaving it through, giving us the details, and then allowing us to discuss it. Yasmin, I'm going to say this again, and I don't remember when I last said it here, but it's how I feel, and I wonder how you feel. This is not about an individual race. It's about election integrity, the lack thereof, how money has corrupted all of this, how your votes are being stolen. Your votes are being stolen. You're disenfranchised because the money is winning out here. Am I wrong? Have I gone too far?
No. So, regarding Bowman, this news is it was obviously hard to hear when we learned about it last night. But we could have, or perhaps should have expected it. We knew how much money AIPAC was dumping into this race. And they propped up a guy who described himself as being a conservative Democrat, whatever that even is. And this is distressing because, as he said, at least in this democracy, we are given the illusion of choice. We're told that we each get a vote and that each vote is worth the same as the next, but we know that that isn't really true. And it's not even anything conspiratorial. So no, I don't think you're going too far. We see the way that they manipulate voting maps, and we see the way that they try to discourage people from voting, specific groups of people from voting, I should say. We see all the money that gets poured into these political races, and we get to see where that money is coming from. In this case, AIPAC was not subtle about what they were doing and what they're still doing. We knew what they were doing all along, and we knew that this would be the likely outcome of their efforts. And just to remind people, AIPAC started off not as the American Israel PAC, but as the American Zionist Committee. Why they should have any place in actual American elections is beyond me. Why this shouldn't be considered election interference is beyond me. And for the record, I don't like when any lobbying group is able to manipulate elections to their liking just by dumping so much money into them. But given everything that is happening right now in Palestine, this one is particularly difficult to stomach. And who knew that asking for innocent people to not be killed and mauled and whatever else could be politically detrimental in 2024? And unfortunately, I think we'll see a similar trend across the country as we proceed between now and November, as you mentioned as you pointed out, with the Cori Bush and Bell race.
Yeah, they are teaching these progressive, outspoken, passionate Black candidates. They're not done though. AOC is in the clear for now, but they're not going to stop trying. They're telling them to shut up. You better shut up. You sit down and you shut up. And suddenly it's radical to say, I love human life and I don't want children, men or women, blown away, innocent people disproportionately. Remember, whether the United States has gotten behind it or not, charges issued from the world body, war crimes being chronicled. That's the allegation. Bowman, Bush, painted as radical, and this kind of deception where you're getting these, I call them patsies, to run, giving them money, because they're not going to say anything. They're going to just do as they're told and fall in line. And it will be fine. What I like about Bowman and Bush is, even knowing what they're facing, Yasmin, they still told their truth. They know the dangers. Bowman knew what was coming his way.
Yeah.
Still told the truth, their truth. And that's the difference. This guy, Bell, is not telling his truth. He's pulling the wool over people's eyes, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, and I think especially with modern politics, a lot of what we see is people trying to toe some line that the rest of us can't see. We don't know what they're dealing with. They're trying, let's say in the best case scenario, that they're actually trying to do work that is going to be beneficial for the most people, specifically for the people that they're representing in their districts, right? Let's say that they really want to do that for their constituents, but they still have all these other things that they're beholden to. And the more people they take money from, the more people they're beholden to. And that's why it's so important that we have all these, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? Transparency.
Well,
that's the
yeah,
one.
we don't have, I would think of this, we don't have transparency. Yep.
Yeah. That's why we need to have that kind of transparency so we can see if people are beholden to certain groups and things like that. With AIPAC, though, they were so just like shamelessly saying, we're going to fund this guy because the other guy is saying that we're not allowed to commit genocide. We're not allowed to, colonize another land that's right next to us and push these people out. And kudos to Bowman for sticking to the message. And I don't know what's going on with Bell. I don't know why he's decided to become a lackey for AIPAC, but that's the political landscape that we're trying to navigate now this year.
Yeah, and I don't know why either concretely, but I think it's a good guess, a hypothesis is a bit more than a guess, that money might have something to do with it. Okay, your approach, you decide what your moral compass is, and then you go for it. I think it's hideous, and I'm disgusted by all of it. We got to figure it out. Do we have free and fair elections? Come on. We know who wants us to and who doesn't. Well, here we go again with something, boy, this is violent. I'll call it violent. British troops accused of heinous acts against Kenyan women. You ready for the details on this? Over several decades, British troops have been accused of fathering numerous children through the sexual violation of Kenyan women during training stints in the East African country. Recent CNN report highlighted the ongoing birth of mixed-race children in rural central Kenya near the British Army Training Unit, Atuk, north of Nairobi. And mixed-race infants are still being born in the area. Stop right now. Pictured here is Satya, Kenyan woman, alleged victim holding her then 9-month-old baby girl Regina on August 14th, 2003. She and other women waited outside the British High Commission, the embassy offices in Nairobi, urging the British government to pay for the cost of raising their mixed-race children. Some 50 women and their 60 children were led by London lawyer Martin Day, where they presented their petition to the High Commissioner. They ought to pay for it all right, not just in terms of financial support. This is sick. This is, in my view, a true crime against humanity. CNN reports that many Kenyan women claim they were sexually violated by troops from the unit, and other mothers struggle to take care of their children whose British fathers haven't provided any child support. What's even more concerning is that the UK government hasn't made any efforts to hold the soldiers accountable for their actions, according to the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. Lana Blackstar with the details here. And you know they could find out, right? When you're in the military, I can make you take a DNA test. I can figure out what went down here. There's all kinds of things I can do, unless you want certain individuals to remain unknown and part of your military. CNN's Larry McDowell sat down with Marian Matuji, a commissioner for the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, who had this to say about the children's predicament and the UK response. Listen.
The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights says the UK government has made no effort to hold soldiers accountable in such cases.
These children really deserve British citizenship. They're British kids. Their fathers were British.
So the British government is just not interested in resolving these cases?
We don't think they are interested. We call it BBBB, British boys behaving badly. We have also had cases where these women and people who have reported have been intimidated. So there is a conspiracy to make sure that justice does not happen for these women.
This is sick, right? We can figure this out in 10 seconds. We don't need Maury Povich to go over there. We can figure out who fathered whom in about 10 seconds here. British boys behaving badly, with all due respect. I get it. Doesn't begin to cover it. British boys perhaps behaving violently and criminally. British boys perhaps as rapists. What we're talking about here. Behaving badly is drinking a nasty warm pint and then showing your butt in the middle of town. Not this. Britain pays Kenya around $400,000 annually to let its soldiers train in the wildlife conservancies of Laikipia and Samburu, CNN reported. Despite local opposition, Kenya renewed the defense pact in 2021. Batuk maintains a permanent base in Nanyuki with 100 full-time staff. For $400,000? I'd have to pull that lease. That's disgusting too. $400,000. Really? 17-year-old Marian Kanalasi lives alone in Archer's Post, a small town 200 miles north of Nairobi. She is one of the many children left behind. Kanalasi told Madawao she feels ostracized due to her being light-skinned and living in a place where it's rare to see mixed-race people. She is a symbol. She's marked. That's sad. Watch this.
She's just 17, but Marian lives alone in this single-room house, a mixed-race girl in rural Kenya where nobody looks like her.
They actually call me poor white girl. I don't know why they call me poor white girl. They always say, why are you here? Just look for a connection that you will go to your own people. You don't belong in here.
Marian's mother, Lydia Juma, was among hundreds of women who accused soldiers from the British Army Training Unit Kenya, Batuk, of rape. She was interviewed in this 2011 documentary.
Because in our tribe, we can't report that thing. It's a big shame. If you go and say that you have been...
Lydia Juma died 2 years after that interview, and Marian has never met her father. She has to fend for herself in a society that ostracizes her.
You have not lost hope of finding your father someday?
No, I've never lost hope.
You know, we can talk about colorism and this and that. When you look much different than the rest of your community, your village, when your crown, which is coveted, It's not the same as beautiful crowns over there. Your mother's dead and your father doesn't have the decency to go back and see what perhaps has been left behind. That's a tough road ahead. One woman, Generica Namoru, who had consensual relations with a soldier, has even been left without any aid to take care of their child. Here we are.
Mixed-race children keep being born in the remote villages where the British Army trains in Kenya. Generica Namoru says she was in a consensual relationship with a British soldier while she worked at their base, but she claims he has never supported her since she gave birth.
I'm a woman with a white child. It's not easy for my family, especially because a child is expensive. She's suffering for no good reason.
So you just want him to take responsibility for his daughter?
Yeah, nothing else. For him, I want him to take care of the education, health.
Have you ever received a cent from him since she was born?
I've never received any cent.
Generica is jobless and says she has unsuccessfully tried to petition local authorities and the British Army to find her ex-boyfriend. The British High Commission told CNN it cooperates with local child support authorities in paternity claims.
What on earth was that gibberish the reporter was passing along? They cooperate. First, they've got to be identified. That is perhaps a consensual relationship. But what about the others? Who do I sue? John Doe, rapist number 20? This is pathetic. Look at your life. Great Britain. Accusations against British troops in Kenya, including murder, date back to the 1950s. One chilling case from 2012, a 21-year-old woman disappeared after allegedly entering a hotel with British troops. Her body was later found in a septic tank. But the soldier identified by his peers as the suspected murderer has never faced trial. Don't ever lecture the rest of the world. Don't talk to another person about what should and should not be, what is moral, if you can't take care of your own issues. Despite sexual violation allegations by 2,187 Kenyan women in 2007, that number, UK Defense Ministry dismissed the claim, stating there was, quote, no reliable evidence to support any single allegation. This is getting disgusting. Royal Military Police investigators deem the Kenyan evidence is fabricated without conducting DNA tests on any children born to the alleged victims. Disgusting. Who else fathered these mixed-race children? Call it all the way out. Meanwhile, some women testified in 2009 that they were preyed on by British soldiers during their daily chores. Kenya's Truth, Justice, and Reconciliation Commission claims the government lost the case files. 2009 report noted the most horrific allegation of sexual violation is said to have occurred in October 1997 at Archer's Post, where 30 women were gang violated by British soldiers, often at knife point and sometimes inside the victim's own Manyatta's compound. That's the CNN report. And a Black Star filling in the details for us. Recent clause now allows British soldiers to be sued in Kenyan courts. It means many of these women may finally have their day in court. Under Kenyan law, human rights violations have no statute of limitations, potentially enabling compensation for decades-old sexual victims. Lawyer Kelvin Kubai, who has represented alleged victims and seeking to reopen sexual violation charges against Batu troops involving over 300 women, stating to CNN, the Kenyan legal system offers a better redress than what is available in the UK. We can win because we have a very progressive constitution. He spoke with CNN's Madawo further.
Lawyer Kelvin Kubai is working to reintroduce the case in Kenyan courts. 17-year-old Marian will be the lead plaintiff, taking up a fight her mother didn't win in her lifetime.
It is traumatic and it's psychologically disturbing to people like Marion and many others who continue to see the British training amidst them with all these unresolved trauma and historical injustices.
You're not really shedding the colonizer tag anytime soon unless you take care of this. This is what we're talking about here, the worst of it. Madawo also highlighted on X a fundraiser to help the children in Kenya with education and legal bills, which exceeded its original goal in less than 48 hours. So its goal was extended to help cover legal fees too. That goal has been met as well. I know if these British troops won't do the right thing, we'll just go to charity. We'll ask other well-intentioned souls to help out here. I want the court cases to go forward, Yasmin, but I want sexual charges brought. But I then suspect a government who's turned a blind eye on credible rape allegations. They're not going to recognize any of this. They're not going to allow soldiers to be brought back, these troop members to be rightfully accused in the jurisdiction where these acts allegedly took place. This is disgusting, and it needs to be pumped out everywhere so people understand this is who you are until you clear it up.
Yeah, exactly. He talked about historical injustices in one of the videos we saw. This goes back to the last story a little bit as far as getting past the binary of the oppressor versus the oppressed. We will not get past that until there is some kind of accountability for past actions. And as we're seeing with this story, these past oppressive actions are still very much happening today. They're not past at all. They're present. They're still happening. And why wouldn't they when there hasn't been any kind of meaningful accountability for similar actions in the past? You can't have the people benefiting from past and present oppressive forces telling the people who are victimized by them to just get over it. And one of the first questions I had with all of this is, why are the British training in Kenya in the first place? They have a permanent training support force in Kenya, and they've been there since Kenya won its independence from the UK in 1963. This is a thing that you see all over the world. The British like to maintain control of their colonies, even as they become former colonies. And apparently they're somewhat helpful in Kenya. They comprise an important component of the Kenyan economy, and they're supposed to help defend against terrorist activity in the country, but they have also damaged the local ecosystem. In one incident, they're alleged to have leached white phosphorus from their training base, which contributed to a fire that burned through like thousands of acres of forest and a conservancy, and it contributed to a loss of farmland. And the British confirmed and defended their use of white phosphorus during their training, but they also denied responsibility for the damage that was done for those thousands of acres of forest that was lost. And then there's this, of course, the soldiers from foreign lands, former colonizers, don't respect the place that they once colonized or the people that they once subjected. And of course, the onus is now on the victims to figure out how they're going to cope, not with what's happened to them, but with what's been done to them. And that's where we are today.
I wish the international body could be called upon here and get involved here. This is a crime against humanity. And maybe I'm overusing that, but I don't know what else you would call it. You have left fatherless children, the product of accused rape, and it's sick. That this is, we're not talking, yes, I raised the horrific event of the 1950s, 2007, 2012. It's still going on. This is still going on. And you are so right, Yasmin. They don't value Black and brown people. They don't value mixed race children that seems to be created by these troops and their violence, their sexual violence. We're having a field day over here. This is our sexually violent vacation. They've got to be kicked out of that country, but can they be? And again, $400,000 annually for you to come in, utilize what you're using, including the resources of the land, and of course, the people. That is a crime, in my view. I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I think especially whenever you consider how many places the British have colonized, not just the British, let's say European countries have colonized, there are still so many repercussions. It wasn't that long ago. 1963 was not that long ago. The country where my parents come from, they also got their independence in the 1960s. A lot of the Caribbean got their independence in the 1960s or 50s. And these are still very real wounds that people are dealing with today. And I mean, then there's the whole issue with the colorism that you mentioned, but that is a real thing, because what ends up happening is you have like these little mini diaspora communities within already weird diaspora communities, right? And this is all just like displacement, cultural displacement that has been put on people, on entire generations of people, just because of something as vile as colonization, and in some cases slavery and things like that, other kinds of oppression. It's really hard, because the same people who we expect to hold them accountable are the same people who are perpetuating these types of things and telling all these other people around the world, around the globe, to just get over what we did to you. So
right. King and Queen of the Netherlands was just here in Atlanta. They wanted to meet with Dr. Bernice King. They wanted to apologize for slavery, their role, colonization, which I can think of a way that you can handle that. There's talk of reparations, not nearly enough. Appreciate, though, that you're coming forward. We can figure out how it all came to be at another time. But this is sick. So many have not been given reparations for the past. But we are talking about today, folks. This is going on. Something's got to be done. I understand the British monarch is just really a name only, but as a powerful symbol, since Prince William, heir to the throne, said there is no racism, and the royal family's not racist, maybe they'll speak out against this. Yeah, I couldn't get through without smiling. I know. There's a punchline. Will you? Harry was right. Meghan was right. Okay. Speak out about it. Camilla, really? You love to talk to the press. Leak a statement on reparations. Okay, this is indisputable. Sharon Reed, Yasmin Aliya Khan, the one and only, filling in today for Dr. Ritchie. I want to talk about modern contexts and some of your work on Rebel HQ when we return. Much more show, though, to come.
You're about to watch some behind the scenes footage of the Young Turks. Ooh. Now, these are partial videos. If you want to get all of them, you become a member, go to tyt.com/join, and you'll get all the behind the scenes of me, Anna, John, JR, a little bit reality show like, tyt.com/join, and enjoy this.
You know what you're seeing behind me? Jersey, hold. Watch me flip this camera. However I flip it. Do I flip it like this? No, I just took a picture. I'm bitzing right now.
What?
Behind the scenes.
Oh, okay. For members? I don't have my face on.
She doesn't have her face on, folks. Oh, that's JR's ass right there.
You can't take 5 minutes off, can you?
No, I can't, Johnny. Bye. I said it was live stream, but I was lying. It's not a live stream. It's just for members. Bitsy, this is my cat. You know what his name is? Kiki Cat.
Animals are innocent. Control room and the insanity is obviously there.
Right now, as you can see, I'm directing or tech directing.
I'm so happy to be here. This is what like a Labor Day beard looks like for Cenk. Man, you're a Young Turks viewer if you recognize me like this.
Such a big fan.
Oh, thank you. You are the one person in my life I would love to meet.
What's going on, guys? This is a Bitsy or a BTS or behind the scenes with Hassan Piker, aka Woke Bay.
Oh, hi, I didn't see you there.
I have finished my show, The Damage Report, and now I get into a really awkward time of the day.
When I'm sitting, the control room is right there. So I can see Bart.
And this is the Pittsburgh office, by the way. I'll refer to often as the boiler room.
You see how it's ripped? Is it super unprofessional to wear that at a business meeting? Or am I like cool, rebel?
I just finished doing the power panel and I'm fired up.
What do you do for TYT?
Not a whole lot.
If you're frantically tweeting at us that something's broken, thank you, because I'm fixing it.
And thank you for being a TYT member.
Super last thing, because there's always got to be a super last thing. Oh, that was disastrous. This has been behind the scenes, behind the scenes.
Indisputable is still the fastest growing news show in America compared to CNN.
Fox News, and 30 other networks. We tell the truth on Indisputable because the truth is indisputable. We go places that other news media outlets refuse to go. When there were human rights abuses happening at the Victorville prison, guards and members of the community contacted us.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
It really doesn't take much to be a trusted voice. All it takes is to be fearless, report on matters, be an advocate. I called it the bullpen intentionally because it's a place of preparation. We present individuals who may have an opposing view, so we debate. Sometimes we interview individuals because their stories deserve to be heard. A survivor of significant police misconduct and his attorney. We covered this story earlier and to remind you of the horror of one man being shot at damn near 100 times by the police. We take time on this show to showcase the temper tantrums of Karens in the wild. We do this not because we want to see people's emotional outbursts in public, but because these incidents are emblematic of a bigger societal issue taking place across the nation, and it has to be checked.
My friend, my big homie, attorney at law, Benjamin Crump.
I just want to thank you, man. Educated, articulate brothers like yourself speak truth to power. It makes a great difference in changing the landscape in America. So
listen, no matter what you do, don't allow the politics of ideology to evaporate the soul that still exists inside of you. They don't stop, I don't stop. Racism won't stop, I won't stop. Systemic bias won't stop, I won't stop. People still need health care, so I won't stop. People still need criminal justice systems reform, so I won't stop. You won't stop either.
Welcome back to Indisputable. Dr. Richie has earned the day off. The wonderful Yasmin Aliya Khan, host of Modern Context, Rebel HQ extraordinaire, joined us as her office is being renovated. But I love the backdrop. It's beautiful flowers and it's just making me happy. And otherwise, news day that can be challenging. You know, we got to bring everything.
I'm happy to bring some brightness when I can.
It is bright, and so are you. Okay, it's wonderful. You know, just what we need. I do want to get to your comments, but first, if you'll allow me, I'm excited about tonight, not just being with you all. I did a double dose on TYT. This is show number 2 today, but I am so excited about this. The great investigative journalist, Michael Isikoff, you've seen his work, Newsweek, other outlets, Yahoo, Daniel Kleidman. They've co-authored that book, Find Me the Votes. It's much talked about in Trump's I Tried to Steal the Election in Georgia trial. And it provides incredible insight. I have to admit, I read the book and then I put it on an audio. What's that Audible? And it made me very angry getting to the part about Shay Moss, Ruby Freeman, everything that was done, the threats on District Attorney of Fulton County, Connie Lewis and her children. I mean, there's just so much detail, a body double, an assassination plot. I mean, there's so much more that we don't know. I thought we knew how ugly these people are, okay? But even Rudy Giuliani with all that paste and hair color and stuff running down as he's slandering everybody and doing the devil's work. There's even more. Yes, even Rudy Giuliani, we don't know the half of it. So I'm going to be sitting down having a town hall with them at Georgia Public Broadcasting. They're hosting the event. And I think it's going to be wonderful. But it's all really about democracy, election integrity. I'm going to try to let them talk since I'm just the moderator, but you know how it goes. Look at this even. Okay, I'm going and going. Let's get to your comments. TYT members first, 36 Chambers Dragon. Well, you are loyal. We love it. We love all of you. I love Sharon bouncing around on all the networks. Maybe a full show of her own TYT. Now they're going to think 36 that I told you we're in cahoots. I didn't tell you to write that, but I appreciate you. I love TYT. Any way you shake it. I love it. Best place I have ever shared company with people. And that's not because I want to show it. Wouldn't mind it. Look at Yasmin and I, Senator Turner. Where are you? Listen, It's a great place.
I'll endorse the show.
I love it because I'm committed to, this is about family. About Jamaal Bowman losing New York primary to George Latimer, AKA who had the money from conservatives, pro-Israel PAC behind him. I keep hearing from Democrats that the most important voting bloc is African Americans, and that's why we had to move the first primary to South Carolina, says Revenge Dragon. Now they choose supporting a genocidal foreign government over their most important voting bloc. I'm going to read these comments because the truth is what it is, and everyone's entitled to share their truth. A lot going on internationally, and a lot of people don't deserve to die or dying. A lot of people who didn't deserve what happened on October 7th are still not with their families. Okay? But there comes a time when we have to say no more. British troops accused of heinous acts against Kenyan women. Holly says, seems like the Kenyan government isn't pushing back against the British soldiers since they're still getting money from them. Could be. I loathe how the bottom line dictates morality now. And I think that's not too much to say. But look at that. $400,000, no amount will be enough for me to sell my people like that. You're not coming in here. You're a danger. You're a threat. David Morris says, holy yes. Sharon ran from John's studio to Dr. Richie's studio in seconds. I used to do track, you know. I won't say I was a track star, but did some track, Georgetown. And then I couldn't wait till it was over. You understand? Every day, this running and running. The instructor, thank you. We appreciate your contributions. Yaz and Sharon, ladies holding down the scene today for some good and bad news today. We hope, besides her backdrop, Yasmin's backdrop is making it palatable, easier to swallow. Quickly, Jamaal Bowman losing to New York primary. Teddy Cool, take big money out of politics. We wish we could. We wish we could. We'll get to more of your comments. We appreciate the most powerful community really in the world. Loyal, committed, passionate. Passionate for the greater good, I'd like to say. But there are other people who are passionate about what they're doing, and it's dastardly work. It's frustrating work. It's disgusting, and they're around too. They're a pretty powerful community, and growing, and multiplying, infesting other places and people. There's your intro. I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
What is going to happen?
Ask her if it's a pink pair of underwear. Ask her if it's a pink pair of underwear. Ask her, I'm wearing them. Oh, my wrist! My wrist! Ask her if it's a pink pair of underwear. I'll take them off. Ma'am, I have them! Can you please tell her? Ma'am, I have them! What am I being taken to jail for? Why? Can you please tell that lady my mom gave me the pink pair of underwear? Ask her if those are it. Can you ask her before you take me in? Can you? Sir, can you?
We're not going to ask anyone. We're not. Welcome back. Apologize. Technical difficulties there, just as I gave you that little teaser on Karen screaming about some pink panties that nobody is going to investigate further about. Okay, stolen panties and a lot of nonsense here. I'd blame the technical difficulties on Karen too. You never know. Okay. But we do need to see how do we get to this nonsense? Watch this.
And I wouldn't care, but it's like $400 worth of stuff. So that's their front porch. There's the package. Okay. I went to the side door and I knocked. A younger girl came to the door, probably close to my size, and I asked for it. They gave me all these. We weren't even home. Blah 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 blah. And then she said, okay. I said, well, I'm going to call the police. She goes, well, you can call Victoria's Secret. And I never once said where it was from.
Hello. Hi. So does anybody have any idea about this package that got delivered here?
No, when we got home, there was nothing here. I don't know.
I'm giving you guys the opportunity, if you guys did take it, to just give it back. Because if you don't, I'm going to do a theft report, and all three of you are going to be listed as suspects.
We had nothing to do with this.
All right, thank you. She's going to make sure that all the stuff is in here.
Yeah.
Missing about 5 things.
What's she missing?
I suspect whoever has them knows what fire they are.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Megan.
All right, Megan. You have one chance to get the stuff. You have 5 items still missing, or
Okay,
you want to jail
if
for
they're
theft.
missing the stuff, man, what do I do? What about Victoria's Secret? I go to jail for a year and package having missing items for Victoria's Secret?
That's why you don't take in packages that don't belong to you.
Do you understand why people are? I mean, there's. Stop! I'm talking.
Would you all shut the
Off.
Separate.
You come down here. Megan, come down.
No, I'm not coming down with cops. I don't trust
No, you
y'all.
are.
Why am I going to jail? Stop.
Come on.
No, what? Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Why am I going to jail? You won't shut up.
This is uncomfortable for the officers. They don't want to get involved in Pantygate. They have enough to go on here. They've done a preliminary investigation. Megan, okay, give up the panties. And if you already wore them, that's going to be a problem, okay? There's more.
Why are they taking me to jail?
We're not taking you to jail. We're detaining you right now until we figure this all out.
I just moved back in from my boyfriends. We broke up.
Would you just like grab them all and
Yeah, I
just
just
threw them in the door?
yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
So you're sure there wasn't a mistake?
Can I go double check my drawer? Because she doesn't know what she's looking for. I could probably tell if anything is in there.
I thought, but you just said for sure nothing in there.
I can go double check because I shoved them in there.
You're coming in for theft.
Why don't I? Mom, go check my drawer. Go check my drawer. No, can I go check my drawer? I promise you, I can probably find them.
Oh, you remember where it's at now?
No, I said they're deep.
Let's go look.
Can you take this out?
Let's go. No, you're staying in the cuffs. Let's go look.
Can you go with her?
Mom,
let's go.
can she go with me?
Let's go. We'll all go. How about that? It'll be a big family party. Come on.
Please stop. You're probably not going to get in any trouble now because you gave them everything and one thing's missing from that.
She don't even know what's missing.
All right, so she still wants to desire prosecution for the one item that's missing.
Are you kidding me? I don't have
But-
it. Listen.
The thing is, we had to go through all of this just to even get the package back.
What is going to happen?
So
Ask her if it's a pink pair of underwear. Ask her
We'll
if
deal
it's a
with all
pink
that.
pair of underwear. Ask her. I'm wearing them. Oh, my wrist. My wrist. Ask her if it's a pink pair of underwear. I'll take them off. Ma'am, I have them. Can you please tell her? Ma'am, I have them.
You know, I hate involving the police and things, okay? But I probably wouldn't have taken any of the undergarments back on principle. Originally posted a body cam leak on YouTube, October 16th, 2023 in Ohio. I used to live in Ohio. I'll just leave it at that. The Karen cried for her mommy after she was caught stealing a neighbor's Victoria's Secret delivery. When confronted with the reality of her arrest, Karen even offered to take off and return the stolen panties she was wearing. Now, that's enough. If you have to talk about mom, go check my drawers, it's a wrap. It's a wrap, okay? And then getting indignant. They gave you chance after chance. That's privilege to me. Do you want the panties back if you were in this situation, Yasmin?
No, I don't want the panties back.
Of course you don't.
Why is she wearing the panties? Like, she knew where the missing package was from that she allegedly hadn't seen before. Then she opened a package that didn't belong to her, which isn't that a crime on its own? And then she wore the pink panties. And, Victoria's Secret already has an image problem. They're trying right now to claw their way back from the dead. And I can't imagine that this is helping their efforts. This is real classy stuff.
No, it's vile behavior. A porch pirate is one thing.
Gross. It's I hate it. No. And no, I would not take the panties back. No, thank you.
Nah. No, thank you. You see how demure she is. No, thank you. You can go ahead and take the panties and the charge. Okay? This is outrageous. Pink. I don't much care for pink, but that's not the point. You put the panties on this quick. And the police again. Boy, what a they treated this like it was a double murder trial. And they investigated the hell out of it, didn't they? Mom, check my drawers. Are you kidding me? Go to jail and sleep it off. Racist road, raging male Karen now, threatening a black driver. This is a double dose.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
He talking bad.
Breaking on a watermelon seed. Or were you going too rapid instead of drumstick? Down on the phone. I know how you load them drumstick. You gotta be careful with them Popeye's biscuits, though. Make sure you got a gallon of water. Otherwise, you choke to death on the biscuits. That's the dangerous thing. And I know you like them red beans and rice. You are just a walking stereotype. You're all the same. All of y'all are the same.
I think I love the laugh the most in the face of hate and vileness, which enraged this male Karen, tailing, harassing the black grandma and her grandson. And I'm sure you're expecting this. There is more.
Y'all see that Karen back there? He trying to hit everybody. Now he mad at me because I'm recording them.
Yeah.
Now he'll come and get on.
Hey, what's up, stupid? What's up, stupid? How you doing? You were slow and responsible.
Lead him.
The grandmother was laughing. And we should probably give a disclaimer. I like that the grandmother was presenting in an unbothered fashion. And I even don't mind that she's documenting here, but Karens are unpredictable. They're vile and unpredictable. So you do have to be careful. Granny, her News One and the Sun Herald, Nico Ellie, Mississippi woman is demanding justice after she was threatened, called a racial slur, several, by this male Karen during a road rage incident. Male Karen not only threatens to rip her out of her car and beat her with a tire iron, but told her to go back to Africa and called a racial slur at least 5 times. According to the Sun Herald, Ellie was driving down US 90 in Biloxi, headed to the doctor's office, 6-year-old grandson in tow, when she saw a bald white man driving a silver Mercedes-Benz erratically behind her, almost causing an accident. Fearing the man would crash, she began filming with her cell phone out the car window. Man yelled at another innocent bystander, pulled behind Ely, and began to harass, threaten, and taunt her with racial stereotypes. If Ely's grandson wasn't in the car, the man said he would snatch her phone and smash it to pieces. Throughout the disturbing video, Ely nervously laughed to try to keep her grandson calm, who she said was very nervous during the ordeal. Cute, isn't he? They're both cute. Look at that. They favor one another, don't they? About 5 minutes of threats in all. The man gave her the middle finger, drove away. When Ely got to the doctor's office, her grandson was visibly shaken, began to cry. She remembered telling him, "It's going to be fine." That breaks my heart. When talking with the Sun-Herald, she recalled driving to her daughter's house to watch the video for the first time. "This man threatened me," she said. "When I first watched it, it just broke me down." On Tuesday, Biloxi police confirmed that a judge declined to issue an arrest warrant for the man who threatened Ely after she filed for simple assault charges last week. That decision has bewildered some Biloxi leaders, but Ely and the community have vowed to continue demanding justice. Biloxi Council member Felix Gines told the Sun-Herald that the language the man used goes against our country and that he belongs in jail. Gines added, "He doesn't need the privilege of driving on our roads." Heavy emphasis on the word privilege. Since the incident, Nico Ely says the fear hasn't left and that she needs to take sleeping pills to get rest. She says she's afraid he might find her again, so she mostly stays home. "My mind is heavy," she said. "My justice is to see him pay for what he said to me." I appreciate the councilman coming out on behalf of this grandmother, Yasmin. I would disagree about it goes against our country. It's in line with our country, unfortunately, sadly. What say you about this incident? And I'm not second guessing the grandmother. I'm just saying that Karens are unpredictable.
Yeah, absolutely. Because what I worry would happen is that, nothing was actually done to her or to her grandson or to her car. So it might be difficult to prosecute or to get any kind of justice when nothing technically was done here. But it really speaks to a bigger problem that we have in this country with racial injustice and how this man really suffered zero consequences, not even like a questioning from a cop or anything like that, right? But like the least that they could have done was at least acknowledge the fact that he was harassing this woman for apparently no reason. And, I can never understand how people just go out of their way to be this terrible for no reason. How miserable this man must be. I'm sure he would tell you that he's not miserable. He appears to be having a great time in this video, but what a pathetic man. He clearly has nothing better to do. And that's honestly very sad for him.
Yeah. And the fact that the grandmother, Miss Ely, said that he told her, "If your grandson wasn't in the car, I'd beat you with a tire iron and smash your phone to bits."
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? So he did this knowing a child was in the car. Okay. And I would say that, okay, maybe it doesn't fit charges, but public humiliation is a good thing in these instances, but I don't believe he's going to be humiliated at all. This type, in this current climate, feels quite comfortable doing what they're doing. Mm-hmm. This is indisputable. Yasmin Aliya Khan is our special guest co-host today. Dr. Richie has a day off. I'm Sharon Reed. We're filling the chair for him, at least trying to. Much more to come.
Don't allow the powerful to see you feeling hopeless. Even if you do feel hopeless, wallow in your pity and your misery. And I believe me, I do it all the time in the privacy of your own home, but never let them see that they're getting to you. Never let them think that we're gonna give up or that we feel defeated or deflated. You gotta put your game face on and you gotta keep fighting.
The rest of the news media says you should not fight for positive change. If you do, you're not really a reporter or a journalist, because reporters and journalists don't care what happens. I don't agree. That's not written anywhere. That's not a law. It's just a rule that they invented so that reporters didn't actually challenge the people that are in power. Well, we don't agree with that. We think we should challenge the people in power, that actually makes you a better journalist, not a worse one.
Hi, I'm John, and I'm new to TikTok, but about 3 years ago, I started my daily political news show, The Damage Report, because I noticed this trend where every morning I was waking up to this tsunami of news that was just generally dreadful and horrifying and shocking, and I thought that if I could spend my time helping people to navigate this, serving as a bit of a life raft, pointing out which news is important and why, there are worse ways to spend your day. We're not an average news show, and we don't want our TikTok presence to be average either, so feel free to let us know what you'd like us to do on the platform, and maybe give us a follow at The Damage Report.
All right, Amazon Prime members, here's how you can subscribe for free on Twitch. Start by linking your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and then click that little subscribe or resubscribe button below the stream on Twitch. Scroll down and select the subscribe free with Prime button, and then you're finished. Close out immediately and share your little subscription alert with the chat. Send a cute message along with it, and bathe in the sweet, twitchy, Bezos-funded love. Hashtag Bezos Bucks.
Welcome back to Indisputable. Sharon Reed alongside Yasmin Aliya Khan, Rebel HQ extraordinaire, Modern Context. She's the host of that. Dr. Richie has the day off. We're thrilled to be presenting you the stories today. Let's give you some quick comments because we love hearing from you all, very much so. TYT members first. About that Karen neighbor who's stealing Victoria's Secret. We've heard much too much about some trousers, these pink panties that the woman put on. Just too much. You're doing too much. D Inch says, so you can't even buy your own panties. Exactly, D. Exactly. And then the woman wanted the package back. You can keep that and go to jail. Another one for you about the racist road rage. Male Karen threatening a black driver. Tanya Ladmiral. This guy needs to learn something new. That is old hate language. Yeah, you're way back. Way back. And sadly, it still lives on today. Appreciate your comments. A little pressed for time. We'll try to get more in. But we have to tell you about this one. A white Maryland man gunning down his black neighbor. Maryland authorities have charged 36-year-old Nicholas Francis Xavier Giroux, white Baltimore man, with murder after he reportedly confessed to the tragic killing of his next-door neighbor, 27-year-old Isaiah Olugbemi, an aspiring black boxer and devoted father to a 2-year-old son. Olugbemi had won the National Golden Gloves title last month as one of the top amateur fighters in the country. He was at the top of his game. Giroux was ordered held without bond on charges of first and second-degree murder in the June 17 death and has been jailed at the Jennifer Road Detention Center since the day after the slaying. And Anne Arundel County judge scheduled Giroux's first hearing for July 17th at Annapolis District Court, where the suspect is expected to enter a plea. Giroux confessed to the killing during an interview with Anne Arundel Police June 18th, officials said, according to the Capital Gazette. Olugbemi was standing outside his house in Odenton when the gunman walked up to him and opened fire in cold blood, police said. Here's a tragic twist. The victim's sister, Maryland social media creator Rebecca Olugbemi, was filming a live makeup tutorial when her microphone picked up the gunfire that killed her brother right outside her window. Shooting occurred around 9:45 p.m. as Rebecca was demonstrating skincare products per a snippet shared on X by NBC Washington reporter Amy Cho. Watch. You imagine that? You know it's not fireworks. You know it's not a loud boom when you hear it over and over again. How many did he unload on this unsuspecting victim? Moments later, she was shocked to learn that these were the same shots that killed her brother. He always looked out for everyone and made sure that everyone was good, the grieving woman told NBC Washington. I just want them to know. And he was just a hard worker, anything that he wanted. He went after it. And a black star filling in the gaps. On the night of the shooting, police were called to the corner of Meadow Mist Way and Stellick Drive in Odenton, where they found Olugbemi mortally wounded but still breathing after he was shot more than a dozen times. Paramedics tried to save the bullet-riddled fighter, but he was pronounced dead on arrival at the University of Maryland Medical Center in Baltimore. According to the court papers, police recovered 9mm cartridges at the crime scene. Investigators obtained surveillance footage from around the crime scene showing a white man, later identified as Jarreau, approaching Olugbemi with a handgun, firing multiple times, fleeing, leaving Olugbemi crumpled on the pavement in a pool of blood. Police have not revealed a possible motive for the killing, but relatives suggested an ongoing beef between Olugbemi and Jarreau culminated with last week's fatal shooting. Victim's brother, Abraham, told station WJZ Jarreau lived next door to Isaiah Olugbemi and alleged that Jarreau had threatened to shoot him on at least 2 other occasions this year, once in January and again in June. Prosecutor characterized the shooting as an execution, recounting that Jarreau unloaded between 6 to 14 shots at Olugbemi before pausing briefly and then pumping another 3 bullets into the man as he lay defenseless on the ground. Olugbemi was quickly making a name for himself on the local boxing circuit, was planning to turn professional by the end of the year, according to the owner of the Anne Arundel County Gym, where he trained 3 times a day. He became an inspiration to many younger fighters, and friends said Olugbemi would bring his 2-year-old son to the gym to show him the ropes. I just want people to know that my brother was a great father, a great man, Daniel Olugbemi told NBC Washington. He just wanted to be nothing but a great boxer. Olugbemi won his last amateur bout June 15th, just a couple of days before he was slain. And in May, he took home a coveted Golden Gloves championship trophy following a national competition in D.C. Anne Arundel Police Department said the investigation into Olugbemi's death is continuing as they looked into Jarreau's past to determine if he has any deeper connections to the victim. According to WBAL-TV, Jarreau's defense attorney, Peter O'Neill, said his client had been harassed by neighbors before the shooting. There has been systemic harassment of Mr. Jarreau by individuals in the neighborhood that precipitated this situation, O'Neill reportedly said. What a dumb comment. I'm being harassed by neighbors. I'm being harassed by people. You walked up to a victim. You shot Mr. Olugbemi, allegedly, 6 to 14 times because you were being systemically harassed in the neighborhood. And so this was going to solve it, huh? I'm disgusted by this loss of life, and I don't know that we can't make it make sense, Yasmin. And we haven't heard about prior police intervention. Perhaps there was a report. We don't know, but this is senseless.
Yeah, I mean, you can't make sense of it because there is no sense. Where were the good guys with the guns? That is the inherent problem with that argument is what we've seen here. Guns kill people so quickly and so succinctly that there is no time to react. There's no time for any good guy to see what has happened, go get his gun, and then go back and deal with the bad guy with the gun before the victim has already been shot and likely killed. How often have we seen that actually happen? And how often have we seen nothing happen to prevent these pointless deaths from shooting before they actually happen? So much of law enforcement is reactive rather than preventative, and that is fine for a lot of things. But when innocent lives are constantly at stake because of gun violence, it is unacceptable, especially as we continue to make these guns more and more accessible to people. We don't even know how to deal with our own neighbors anymore because we're all packing deadly heat. So if we have that kind of power behind us, why wouldn't we just jump to the end? right? There is no negotiation, there's no compromise, there is no understanding, there's nothing. All they do is they just shoot people. And it's a weird, like I can't in my head even imagine getting to the point where it's like, I'm just gonna kill this person. That's insane. And that's where we are as a country now.
Yeah. Had friends urge me, get a weapon, defend yourself. You'll be defended. I wouldn't do it. I had a young child who's now a preteen in the house, and I was afraid, what if a curious child it's just, what if someone took it from me? And it's not what I'm doing. And the Surgeon General, United States, has once again said something that some are deeming radical. Oh, this is a public health. It is a public health. This is an epidemic. This is an epidemic. Gun lobby will tell you that if Mr. Olugbemi had a weapon, he could have defended himself. He used his hands. He was a boxer. He was a great boxer. He was going to become one of the best. He didn't need a gun. And if this accused perp, Giroux, didn't have one, maybe they'd just be arguing. They'd still be around today. Give you an update now on a man who punched a woman on video. He's been allowed to resign. Ugh. Watch.
Oh my God. That's right. Stop. You're a horrible person. Go yourself. Yeah. Go yourself.
So from the very first frame of this video, we can see that something has already been happening before the recording began. As you can notice here, there's someone, at least one person on the ground and one or two people trying to help them up. We can also see that there's something all over him, and he says to one of the bystanders, she threw all over me. And it looks like some sort of liquid, like a drink. But whatever happened before, whatever this situation was, what we see right here is him approaching this young woman who has her hands down, who is not coming at him aggressively at all, followed by him punching her directly in the face, allegedly breaking her nose.
Apologize, a few gremlins in the home studio today. The banker, as you heard to the end there, allegedly had nose broken, the woman who was punched by this wealthy banker. So here's the update. Jonathan Kaye, who was shown on the video brutally punching the woman in New York City earlier this month, was granted the privilege of resigning from his lucrative position at Moelis and Company instead of being fired by the investment firm that employed him. There's a golden parachute, right? He needs it. Yeah. Jonathan Kaye remained on the Moelis and Company investment firm payroll for more than 2 weeks amid calls for him to be fired, arrested, prosecuted for brazenly, violently assaulting the woman during a Pride Month event. But as of Monday morning, Kaye was no longer working for Moelis and Company, according to the media reports. Bloomberg attributed the report to a Moelis and Company spokesperson. News One contributing the details here. Moelis and Company had quietly placed Kaye on leave as it said it was conducting an investigation that began the day after the assault that was recorded on video and went viral on social media. But even at that point, it had already appeared as though Kaye, who worked as a managing director who led Moelis and Company's global business services franchise, was poised to not face any real punishment, both occupationally and legally. Moelis and Company ultimately confirmed to Business Insider that Kaye is the employee it placed on leave following its initial social media post announcing the serious incident was under investigation. Kaye's bio page on Moelis and Company website had been deactivated but remained searchable on Google. Kaye's LinkedIn page, however, was quickly deleted as the video began going viral. Moelis and Company did not immediately respond to an inquiry from News One about Kaye's employment status at the investment firm. Aside from an apparent lack of any corporate accountability, it's unclear if the NYPD has any plans to look into the matter. Responding to questions of whether the NYPD was investigating the incident, a spokesperson for the Deputy Commissioner of Public Information would only say, NYPD is aware of the video. Woman has since come forward, filed a police report. But as of Monday afternoon, there were no reports that Kaye had been arrested, charged with a crime that he's shown on video committing. Ken Moelis is the CEO of Moelis & Company. At least he was. Well, he is. Chief Jeffrey Madry runs the NYPD. So there you have the CEO, Ken Moelis, whose name is on the marquee, and the chief, Jeffrey Madry of the NYPD. And we're still wondering, this was our initial question. NYPD said, oh, we can't act unless there's a victim. That's not true. And we proved it the last time. They asked for people to come forward, the footage, all that. They could have been investigating. Do you want to start there, Yasmin?
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah. And it's kind of a weird callback, but if you go back to the Karen with the panties, those cops were there. They were very proactive. I think you actually mentioned that. They did a full investigation. They went into the woman's house. They can do as much or as little as they want to do. And look, in this case, at least the man didn't have a gun on him, right? These people out here, they're insane. And in this case, this guy seems incredibly entitled. Why wouldn't he be? Again, he's a very wealthy man living in New York City. How dare this woman upset this man who has such limited intelligence that he can't manage his own emotions, nor can he use his words to communicate whatever he's trying to communicate. He has to punch a woman in the face. We would chastise children for less. We do chastise children for less. And if he was anything but a white man behaving that way, he'd be dragged all over Fox News as an angry whoever.
Oh, you're right.
That is society.
You are so right. And might I also add this, something about his jacket was wet, somebody threw something. We don't know if that was an accident. We don't know if the woman who allegedly had her nose broken did it. We don't know any of that. And that's still not the way you respond. But this guy, allowed to resign, keep presumably the wealth, the benefits. Well, maybe he'll finally get arrested, NYPD. Maybe he'll be arrested for punching people in the street. You're dangerous as far as I'm concerned. And maybe she'll also file a civil suit. We'll keep you posted. Now, the late Kobe Bryant, the great Kobe Bryant, reportedly, according to Carmelo Anthony's told the story recently, could not stand JJ Redick. Couldn't stand him. Kobe said it got on his nerves when they were on the USA team together. Got on his nerves. And maybe Kobe was right. A Black woman has now accused JJ Redick of calling her a slur while at Duke University. Here we go. Author and motivational speaker Helena Nash has accused newly appointed Lakers coach JJ Redick, calling her the N-word while the two both attended Duke University many years ago. Redick, the new coach with no coaching experience. Well, I'm talking even Pee Wee, in the Pee Wee League. He did zero coaching experience, but he did do a podcast with LeBron. So maybe he'll be best to coach LeBron and Bronny. Nash wrote on X, I've only been called the N-word to my face by a white man once in my life, and it was on the campus of Duke University while I was doing work with the basketball team. And today he was named the new head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. What a world. Okay, so this is, I think her statement's perfect. And nobody's come forward and said it's not credible either. Nash would go on to say, for context, this was years ago, and I'm a believer that we all have space to grow, especially from our college level maturity. We live in a world where these exchanges happen and the interaction of race and privilege and lack of accountability all collided with that presser. Bingo. Another Duke alum, data scientist Lorenzo Ferrari, responded to Nash's allegations and Redick's denial, posting, I had many encounters with JJ Redick back in college. I totally could see a situation in which he used the N-word. I don't think it's that much of a story 20 years later, but if he tries to pull on the, I've never said that word in my life card, I will call shenanigans. See, when perhaps, and we don't know, okay, but these seem like credible people. Now classmates backing her up when people step forward and perhaps you've not been called on anything, you've not faced consequences in the past. maybe how can you evolve if you haven't really faced consequences? Now you've gotten a job that some would argue you didn't earn. Ferrari would clarify on his interactions with Redick on campus. Okay. See it there. Yes, we took a number of classes together. I had all positive interactions with him, but he was known to be a bit of I'll say jerk, but there's another word. Response from Redick spokesperson, TMZ Sports, with the credit here. They reached out to Redick's camp for a response to the claim, and they completely shut it down. No, never happened. Spokesperson tells TMZ Sports. He kept it short. Ironically, in the Hulu series Clip, the show inspired by true events, JJ Redick is featured as a character who at times teased at but refused to say the N-word. Past controversies involving Redick. Back in 2018, during a video where NBA players were wishing China a happy new year, Redick appeared to use a slur saying, "I want to wish all the NBA," begins with a C, ends with a K, fans in China a happy new year. Following the outrage, Redick would post online saying, "Just saw a video that is being circulated of me wishing a happy new year to NBA fans in China. Clearly it was tongue-tied, as the word I purportedly said is not in my vocabulary. I'm disappointed that anyone would think I used that word. I love and respect our friends in China." This is so typical of people who do this stuff. I didn't do it. And by the way, how dare you? We'll flip the script. How dare you do to accuse me of such? This is right there, JJ. Abortion contract accusation. Following his first season in the NBA, JJ Redick allegedly entered into an abortion contract with a former girlfriend, Vanessa Lopez, after they broke up, according to Media Takeout. Website published a 2007 document. Indicates Lopez was pregnant at the time, had agreed to end the pregnancy and provide proof of the abortion. She would then try to maintain a social relationship for one another. Another year, Lopez gained notoriety in 2010, suing Shaquille O'Neal for allegedly harassing her after she broke off their sexual relationship. HuffPost with the details. Redick took to Twitter in 2013, vehemently denying that Lopez ever carried a child conceived with him, and that Lopez never terminated the pregnancy of a child fathered by him. However, he did not deny the existence of such a contract or address the possibility that Lopez was perhaps pregnant with someone else's child. This guy is, wasn't me, wasn't there, didn't do it, didn't say it. How dare you? Wasn't me. Lopez would leak an alleged email to gossip sites that was allegedly sent to her by Redick to his lawyer about the contract, which Redick allegedly writes that his brother-in-law called Lopez a dirty N-word in a voicemail, and that Redick referred to Lopez using a racial slur aimed at Hispanics. The email has not been fully verified to be real, but here it is. Wow. I wasn't there, Yasmin. But I'm just telling you what Carmelo Anthony said, his good friend, dearly departed, Kobe Bryant, said and felt about JJ Redick. He didn't trust him. I wasn't there, but there's a number of people coming forward saying this guy is a first-class jerk. You have the situation with the China fans. You have the black woman at Duke, another classmate backing it up, talking about his temperament and that he's kind of just, not a great guy, used another name for it. Wasn't me. Wasn't there, didn't do it, not who I am, not in my vocabulary. I'm perfect. I have no coaching experience, but I've signed a multi-year deal to be the coach of the Lakers. And I'm going to check with LeBron about calling the plays. Maybe I just don't like the guy. I don't know. Am I being unfair?
I don't know, because it's a lot of, people can say that he said this and then he can say that he didn't. I am just now learning about JJ Redick for the first time today as of reading this story. I can't comment on his career or how much of a jerk he's been in the past, apart from everything that you just very nicely laid out for me and for our audience. But it kind of sucks because people can still get good jobs even if they're terrible people. And that is a reality of the world that we live in today. But as far as for the woman who claims that he called her the N-word to her face, right? Again, we don't know if that's true, but it is kind of interesting to think about people who are wronged, let's say, by people who are in the public space, right? And then they have to kind of see these people who have treated them so poorly, winning at life and, getting promoted and becoming, the coach of the LA Lakers. That's a big deal. Even I know that, So I don't know what's going to come from this. I don't imagine that he'll lose his job over something like this, over these allegations that, again, can't be proven. But hopefully he's just nicer to people going forward. And also, I don't understand how you could be racist when you work in the NBA. It's ridiculous.
You would think.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, but I think it's rich in America that the people who point the finger and say, you did this to me, they have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. But all JJ has to say is, I didn't do that. Wasn't me. Can I get that job and the millions of dollars that go with it? I thought this was kind of baller, actually, in his press conference saying, I have zero experience.
Can I do it? I'll take the millions of dollars.
We could do it. So for you to say, I don't know much about it. Yasmin, you don't need to. So you and I could probably take over the team. I'm not going to put up with any of this where the players won't go in when I tell them to go in.
This guy just has none of it. None of it.
Yeah.
Amazing. How aspirational.
He did a podcast. He trashed the previous coach that got ousted. If I'm the coach,
I mean, does that make us
take it
eligible
old
to be
school?
president? Because we talk a lot of trash about politicians. So, I mean,
hey,
maybe that's
this guy is something else. And I blame Stephen A., who he seemed to get on Stephen A. Stephen A.'s got a big mouth. And when they would fight on ESPN, I said, it's Stephen A.'s probably. I think Redick's, I like him. But I don't like him. I don't know him. But I've decided he's not, I could just, listen, it's a blessing and a curse. I have this thing where I can kind of say, this person's decent, human. This person means it's no good. Maybe that's wrong. I admit it's not foolproof, but it's certainly, I'm not really wrong about people a lot of times, Yasmin.
Like if it's working for you, Sharon, then I think
I got a bubble around me. Or like I said, I'm going to put some garlic around my neck and keep these people away. I don't want anything to do with them, period. Now, if the Lakers start winning and somebody gives me free tickets, I'll go to the game, okay? Because I am fair weather. But in the meantime, I root against you.
What they say about all Lakers fans, though, is that they're very fair weather.
Of course they are. They got the beach. They got a lot of stuff going on there. Red carpets.
I live in Houston, and I think Houston is like the most fair weather sports fan of everywhere.
Well, hey. And listen, the Kardashians would do the same thing. You think they're going to be sitting in the front row if the Lakers losing?
When Chloe was dating James Harden on the Rockets, it was a disaster. He not wait for that to be over. Yeah.
Lamar Odom. There's a lot of stuff went down. Then you got, what is it, Kendall? All right, this is enough. I'm not going to do this gossip show here. It's beneath you, and I'm not going to present it to you. I'm not going to do that to you. Quickly, tell us about Modern Context.
Yeah, so that's my podcast. Admittedly, I'm on a bit of a hiatus because I've been busy with a few other things. Yeah, thank you. But yeah, the last episodes I did were about Ireland. It was a 2-part episode, I guess, and it was really hard to get through because it's just horrifying things that have happened to the Irish people, and of course, there were a lot of parallels between what happened with them and what is currently happening in Palestine right now. And as much as I tried to not make one story about another story, it was really hard to read about this and not make those parallels or comparisons.
Our world is connected.
Yeah.
Our world is connected. This is great work, and I hope everyone will check it out. And when you're ready to put up fresh episodes, we'll be waiting. It really is a great, great project you got going. Yasmin Aliya Khan, we appreciate you. Dr. Ritchie, we appreciate you. Thank you for letting us fill the seat today. Mostly behaved. I'm Sharon Reed. We hope you'll join us for the next Indisputable.